This is Shani. She's a watercolor artist and a writer living here in San Francisco. For the past 2 months, she's been working on her art in our space alongside other creatives and founders. All I knew about her was that she made these incredible paintings and wrote beautiful poems. But in the back of my mind, I had a simple question that I had a hard time getting around. How do you go full-time as a painter and a poet? How do you make it your job? So I sat down with her, asked her some questions, and followed her around for the day to see what she does.
En verdes praderas de paz y quietud, me llama y me lleva en linda beatitud. Por aguas
One of the biggest struggles when going down a non-traditional path is justifying uncertainty, doing something different over a stable job that's guaranteed to make you regular income. Even more so for creative fields where money is rarely the main reason why you get into it. I wanted to talk about that with Shani while she walked me through her day-to-day. First, she showed me her work and we talked about what got her into what she currently does.
I want to draw it.
How did you get into painting and writing?
When I was a kid, I always liked to draw, so it was something that I did in the margins in my notebooks. And I remember when I was probably in 4th grade, it was something that I took classes for, just with an art teacher in my little town in New Hampshire. When I was 17, I started to keep these sketchbooks, and they would be full of my writing and my observations about the world. Yeah, from doing this, I started to notice the things that would catch my eye.
When you picked up painting and writing that, was there like a little thought, I want to do this for a living, or it just kind of happened naturally for you?
I don't think there was ever that thought, somewhat because of the culture I was raised in, which was very much like a job is a serious thing that makes a lot of money and falls into like 1 in 4 possible directions, you know? I think what I did know in the beginning though was that it was something that felt effortless to me a lot of the time, where I just really enjoyed it and didn't really need to make myself do anything, which was kind of the opposite of my experience in school.
So what does your day-to-day look like?
So right now, I'm still a wedding painter. I'm painting people's weddings, and a lot of my business energy is spent there in marketing and getting new clients for live event commissions. I'm also working on the San Francisco Sketchbook, which is a project where I'm interviewing strangers who live in SF and asking them about their life and writing about them as well in these large paintings.
Next, we got into the main topic. How can you sustain yourself as an artist? Well, Shani was an interesting person to talk to about this since she's done so many different things.
Yeah, as a teacher, teaching English literature and world cultures at a high school. I've worked as a yoga teacher as well. I worked at a climate startup for a little bit too.
I saw this post on her social media I found very interesting. In it, she talks about how work can be literally anything you want if you know how to sell it. At the time, she was paying rent by writing other people Mother's Day poems. I saw another post that talked about how one corporate painting gig was enough money for 2 months of her living expenses. It made me question many things. The main one being, why do so many people associate a creative career path with financial struggle? Why does a dream in the arts seem so distant from a real job?
I definitely see why it's a popular trope, the starving artist, because so many of the people who do art for a living do it out of love, and it's very strange to start to put a transaction on top of that when it's something that you would do for free for $0. Artists might not be naturally great business people, and that's a part of themselves that is like a learned art. I also think that there are people who have somehow found a way to make it work that feels very good for them. Some of my friends write full-time. They have enough followers on Substack or a platform like that where they're able to sustain themselves with their creative work and they can write about whatever they want. I think as an artist, you're walking a tightrope between what the world wants from you and what you want from yourself. And I think anyone who creates art publicly probably struggles with this tension a little bit of having the things that feel very true to them aren't always the things that the world is like the most interested in. And sometimes the opposite is also true, where like what the world really responds well to, what goes viral, feels gimmicky to you or doesn't feel super authentic to you. To me, making it as an artist is just having a lot of confidence in that balance and trusting in myself and knowing that what I create is sure for other people, but also deeply true to me.
How do you live off of painting and writing poems? You know.
Well, I think you'd be surprised how much money people pay for painting and writing poems. I think a lot of it is because I'm lucky to live in a city like San Francisco where there's corporate events with, I don't know, $200,000 budgets like a few times a year, and they can afford to spend a few $1,000s on a live event artist. It's surprising because I also work part-time for a tech company, and I make far more money making art for these companies than I do working in like finance operations for them. There are other ways that artists can get creative about making money, about finding like the right opportunities that aligns with their skills. I've gone through periods where I've tried to support myself solely as a live event painter, so painting a lot of weddings, painting a lot of events. The starving artist, I think it can be a myth, but there are some compromises too with that, where you will probably not make the art that you exactly want to make unless you're super, super lucky. Right now I'm supported by a grant. The grant allows me to work on the art project that I'm at SLAM doing, which is about the people who live in San Francisco and their stories, and illustrating and writing about them. There are ways to get creative about it to find a sense of security, but they're not always talked about, I guess. Yeah, you kind of just find your own way a lot of the time.
The secret to making a living as an artist is simple. Do creative work that's fulfilling to you, and the opportunities that'll give you financial freedom will come. Now, that sounds easier said than done, but Shani is a living example of this. She never set off to make watercolor painting a career, but as she did it in corporate spaces for fun, people started to approach her for paid gigs. She applied for grants that supported her financially. Her work resonated with people because it wasn't trying to sell anything, it was just good. It was true. Shani's still looking for people to be a part of her San Francisco sketchbook project. So if you're a person or business with an interesting story you want to share, reach out to her social media in her bio. And if you want to see more people like her building their dream lives, follow along our journey here at SLAM. We just moved to a new space in San Francisco, and we're building it out to gather people that want to take the unconventional path. Founders, ceramicists, painters, fashion designers, anyone with a cool idea that's willing to take the leap. If that sounds like you, check out our website, slam.co.